De nous honorer de votre présence. Thanks everyone to be here. I'll start first to mention the warm welcome we received from this team, the team of this Golden Age Club. So, Madame la Présidente and your team, thank you for this. Yeah. They just told me you have 1 minute, so I'll take 1 minute and a half. Je vais prendre le temps qu'il faut pour quand même remercier, souligner la présence ici du maire de Dalhousie, qui ça fait une semaine qu'on travaille fort, M. Normand Pelletier. Il y a des membres ici du personnel de soins de santé, que ce soit des soins de longue durée, des hôpitaux qui sont ici aussi. Merci d'être venus nous visiter cet après-midi. Je ne sais pas si j'ai des députés...
Donald Arsenault et Gilles sont là.
Donald et Gilles sont là. Donald Arsenault, je ne les vois pas, les lumières. Donald, ancien ministre. Gilles Lepage, qui est ici, député de l'Est-Gauche-Ouest. Guy Arsenault asked me to mention that he's welcoming everybody here. He was absent from the region. He couldn't make it. So Guy Arsenault vous dit ses salutations. C'est le député provincial d'ici. J'ai évidemment la visite de bons amis à moi. Il y a le caucus du Nouveau-Brunswick que je veux mentionner. Serge Cormier à Caddy Batters. Jenica Atwin, Fredericton. Ma ministre favorite, je le dis tout fort. Ginette Petitpas-Taylor, ministre des langues officielles et de l'APK. Et évidemment, le dernier, mais non le moindre, parmi nos collègues ministres, M. Dominique Leblanc, ministre des Affaires intergouvernementales et de l'Infrastructure. Ça fait là, je dois terminer. On m'a dit, c'est tout ce que tu as à dire, mais je veux vous dire à quel point je suis fier pour le Madawaska-Restigouche, pour le Restigouche et pour notre région ici de Dalhousie, de vous présenter le très honorable Premier ministre du Canada, Justin Trudeau.
Merci beaucoup, René, pour cet accueil. Bonjour tout le monde. What a pleasure to be in Dalhousie today. I want to start by thanking the extraordinary healthcare workers I got to meet and talk with a little bit about the challenges of the past couple of years that are ongoing. Je veux aussi remercier Sarah et toute la communauté ici pour l'accueil. I want to thank Ginette, Dominic, Jenica, Serge, and especially René. Merci René de m'accueillir avec tant de chaleur, une journée froide, mais une foule accueillante ici dans la région. C'est un grand plaisir d'être ici. It's good to see Minister Fitch as well from the province et Normand, le maire de Dalhousie. Merci beaucoup pour votre accueil, monsieur. Merci d'être ici avec nous aujourd'hui. Before I begin today, I think we should all take a moment to remember the victims of the shooting in Nova Scotia that happened 2 years ago. To all Nova Scotians, your strength is remarkable. This is an incredibly hard day for the victims and for the families. We're thinking of you, and I want to take this occasion to really say that not just everyone here in New Brunswick, but everyone across the country is with you as you continue to grieve, as you continue to heal, as you continue to try and make some semblance of sense out of something that was absolutely senseless and horrific. We will be with you, and we will continue to be. I want to thank everyone here at the Dalhousie Golden Age Club for welcoming us today. I got to meet Sarah, the president of the club, and other members today. She talked about how people gather here to play bridge, meet friends, connect with a range of activities. And that's exactly right. When you're retired, you should be able to spend time with friends and family and doing the things you love without worrying about getting access to the quality of health care that you need and deserve. So as we recover from the pandemic, we have to address the existing challenges in our healthcare systems, including for seniors. So today, I'm very happy to announce, alongside the province, that we have a safe long-term care fund agreement with New Brunswick. The federal government will provide $22 million to improve care for residents of the province's long-term care homes and assisted retirement facilities. This will include hiring more staff and upgrading heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. We know, especially on the staffing side, it's been an incredibly difficult 2 years as people have been overwhelmed with work, so much so that a lot of our frontline healthcare workers decided that it was time to take retirement or early retirement, which of course puts all the more pressure on people in the system. But at the same time, as I was hearing from Gaëtan, Sonia, Claudette, Cindy, people are stepping up, people coming out of retirement, volunteers stepping forward from the community. But even as we saw Canadians stepping up for each other through this pandemic, we shouldn't have to rely on the kindness of each other to be able to get through the dark times. We should have strong systems in place. Alors l'annonce d'aujourd'hui, c'est une bonne nouvelle pour les aînés au Nouveau-Brunswick et surtout pour tous ceux qui travaillent dans les centres de soins de longue durée. Parce qu'on sait très bien que la qualité de soins qu'on reçoit est directement liée aux qualités de conditions de travail de ceux qui sont là pour aider, pour soigner. Conditions of care are direct, and quality of care are directly related to the work conditions for the people who choose to work on the front lines to support our most vulnerable. And that's where we need to continue to step up for them. Tous les Canadiens méritent des soins de qualité, peu importe leur âge, peu importe où ils habitent. Alors, en plus de l'annonce d'aujourd'hui, je peux vous dire que dans le budget 2022, on a présenté plusieurs mesures pour rendre les soins plus accessibles pour les gens. On a investi pour éliminer le plus rapidement possible les retards des centaines de milliers de chirurgies et de traitements qui ont été reportés à cause de la pandémie. On va aussi augmenter la remise de prêts d'études pour les médecins et les infirmières qui travaillent dans les communautés rurales ou éloignées, parce qu'on a besoin que des personnes de qualité viennent s'installer pour appuyer les citoyens qui habitent dans les régions rurales et éloignées. We also know that science is key to improving well-being and quality of life, so we'll be continuing to invest in research to learn more about brain health and to improve treatments for people living with dementia. Of course, while we do all of this, we'll continue supporting mental health for Canadians. We know that mental health is health. And if we've learned anything from the physical health challenge that the pandemic has brought, it's that the mental health impacts were just as steep as people were isolated, as people were living through fearful, stressful times, as people went long times without the resource supports and networks to help them out. This is something that we need to continue to invest in across all orders of government, which is why the federal government is continuing to invest more in the Wellness Together Canada online portal to make sure that this free resource continues to be available for people everywhere in the country. En résumé, on fait ce qui est nécessaire pour améliorer les soins de santé pour les aînés et pour tous les Canadiens. On va continuer notre travail pour s'assurer que personne ne soit laissé pour compte. Before I end, I just want to share a little bit of an update on Ukraine. This morning, I had a call with President Biden and a handful of other global leaders. We continue to monitor the situation and coordinate actions to respond to Putin's terrible, illegal invasion. Today, Canada is imposing 14 new restrictions on 14 close associates of the Russian regime, including Vladimir Putin's 2 adult daughters, as well as oligarchs and their family members. This Russian regime and its associates need to continue to be held accountable for their actions. L'invasion injustifiée et illégale de Poutine a causé une crise humanitaire. Comme on l'a annoncé la semaine dernière, 100 membres des forces armées canadiennes ont été déployés en Pologne pour aider les Ukrainiens qui fuient la violence, et on va continuer d'être là pour soutenir les réfugiés en Europe et accueillir ceux qui veulent venir au Canada. Sur ce, je suis très content aujourd'hui de passer la parole à mon ami, à notre ami à tous, Dominique Leblanc, pour partager un peu plus de nouvelles. Merci tout le monde. On se revoit tantôt. Dominique.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Premier Ministre. Prime Minister, welcome to New Brunswick. As Renee said, it's always a privilege for your New Brunswick caucus to welcome you in our small province, but it's It's very important, I know, for our colleague René and for the great people of the Restigouche to have you, Prime Minister, in Dalhousie today on what should have been a nice spring day. I don't know what. The weather is a provincial responsibility, so Minister Fitch is going to explain what happened. But, Prime Minister, thank you for coming to New Brunswick. Et merci aussi, Monsieur le Premier ministre, pour votre engagement et l'engagement de notre gouvernement envers les aînés. As your Intergovernmental Affairs Minister, I've had the privilege of working with provincial governments across the country over these last years in terms of COVID response. And you're absolutely right. One area that Canadians expect the governments to work together on is the care and the services we provide some of the most vulnerable people that have come through a very difficult 2 years. And of course, we're thinking of our seniors and those who reside in long-term care facilities. Alors, c'est une bonne nouvelle pour le Nouveau-Brunswick, Monsieur le Premier ministre. C'est une bonne nouvelle pour les aînés à travers le pays que nous allons collaborer avec les gouvernements provinciaux. Et c'est aussi un moment pour moi de vous présenter le ministre du Développement social de la province du Nouveau-Brunswick, New Brunswick's Minister of Social Development, the Honourable Bruce Fitch. Bruce.
Well, merci beaucoup. Bon après-midi, tout le monde. Prime Minister?
I switched it up.
Bienvenue au Nouveau-Brunswick. Merci beaucoup pour votre announcement aujourd'hui. Thanks for being here. Wow, what a party, Dalhousie. We've got the Prime Minister, ministers, MPs, we've got MLAs, former MLAs, we've got the mayors. Quelle soirée, what a party. And you know what, it is great to be here, and I'm so pleased to have a few minutes just to say thank you very much to the Prime Minister for being here and for his colleagues for this announcement. And I think it's no secret, you know, New Brunswick is aging, and we've got a very high average age. I know I look in the mirror every day and I get reminded I am the oldest I've ever been, and it gets worse and worse every day, and politics makes it go faster. When I started in politics, I had a full head of hair, and I was a little taller. But look, what makes up for that is the ability to come and help New Brunswickers. And I know the folks behind me have it on right across New Brunswick and across Canada, trying to make life better for the most vulnerable. And certainly for the seniors here in the province of New Brunswick, having a happy, healthy life is a goal that we all strive for. Un but pour tout le monde ici à Nouveau-Brunswick. Nous voulons préparer le Nouveau-Brunswick à mieux répondre aux besoins des personnes âgées. We've got a large network here in New Brunswick of the long-term care continuum, and the announcement today will go towards that care of helping the seniors. We have 546 long-term care facilities in our province, and that provides service and care to about 11,600 residents here in the province of the most vulnerable people. And this is where we're moving to make sure that they receive the care that they deserve. And it's been mentioned the past 2 years has been difficult in that sector, and certainly it's because of the hard work of the employees and the volunteers in the long-term care sector that has helped us cope with COVID here in the last 2 years. And every time I'm near a mic, I want to take the time to say thank you very, very much for all the hard work that the employees have put forward in helping the seniors here in the province of New Brunswick. Merci beaucoup. Je veux dire merci beaucoup à tous les travailleurs de soins de longue durée. Let's give them a big hand. You know, and many of our frontline workers continue to work in places like our special care homes, like our nursing homes, and they continue to keep everyone safe and secure. And again, we want to, as we move towards more of a normal, we need that support and assistance. And certainly today's announcement will go a long term for that. Sorry. That's okay. Yes,
There's nothing, and there's always beautiful people here working together, and it's amazing.
it
I'm
is.
the only one for her. She doesn't have a voice. She can't speak.
Yeah.
Even before the pandemic.
And Prime Minister, you're allowed to do whatever you want here. It's your announcement. But look, we do appreciate the partnerships with the federal government. A month or so ago, I announced the Healthy Seniors Pilot Project, which again is a considerable investment to again improve the life and the care and the situation for seniors and the most vulnerable. We also have had great success with the Canada-New Brunswick Housing Benefit, which has helped thousands of people cope with the high cost of rent and the high cost of inflation. So we continue to look to our partners and the opportunities we have in the future to, again, make sure that the population here in New Brunswick is looked after. So, encore une fois, merci beaucoup tout le monde pour votre appui. Ça, c'est très important pour la population ici au Nouveau-Brunswick. Merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Merci. Nous avons maintenant 20 minutes pour prendre des questions des médias. We now have 20 minutes for questions from the media.
I didn't mention, but Sarah actually kindly pointed out that since I just turned 50 at Christmas, I can now become a member here. So I feel very honored, very honored. All right, sorry. Go ahead with questions.
Mr. Prime Minister, I wanted to follow up on your comments about Ukraine. What specifically is Canada doing in response to Ukraine's urgent request for heavy weaponry?
Yeah. We know, and unfortunately, even as Russia has pulled back from Kyiv, it is intensifying its attacks on the Donbass. Ukrainians have fought like heroes over the past number of months, and they're not just fighting for Ukraine. They're fighting for the values that underpin so many of our free democratic societies, which is why the world needs to continue to step up, why Canada is continuing to stand with Ukraine, to stand against Russia, but also ensure that this conflict doesn't escalate to elsewhere. So our support for Ukraine has been financial, in that we continue to clear up billions of dollars in funds to help Ukraine continue to operate while at the same time supporting them. We've stepped up with military aid, both non-lethal and lethal, and of course we're there with humanitarian aid. Over the past weeks, we've been in close contact with President Zelensky since the very beginning, and we're very responsive to what it is that they need most specifically. Their most recent request from Canada is to help them with heavy artillery, because that's what the phase of the war is in right now, and Canada will be sending heavy artillery to Ukraine, with more details to come in the coming days. But we will continue to stand with Ukraine and stand for the values that underpin all of our free societies. Merci pour la question.
This question is for both the Prime Minister and Minister Fitch, perhaps. The federal money today, I understand, comes from a $1 billion safe long-term care fund, originally announced in the 2020 fall economic statement. Why did it take so long to reach an agreement? And has the province already spent the money knowing it was coming?
We have, over the past number of years, made significant investments in care across the country, in investments for seniors, in long-term care. You're absolutely right. This is an agreement that is signed out of an announcement we made in the fall of 2020. But yes, the funding will be flowing now. We also, in the following year's budget, in Budget 2021, announced a $3 billion investment for long-term care supports, and those negotiations are underway right now with the provinces. And like I said, in Budget 2022, that just came out a few weeks ago, we have more supports and announcements for seniors. The federal government understands that care for seniors, making sure that the dignity and the quality of life for people of all ages across the country is something that impacts all of us. We respect provincial jurisdictions, but we feel as a federal government we have to be there as active partners, and we're pleased that we're able to make this announcement today, and I certainly hope that we will continue to be able to work on big announcements like this for with the province in making a big difference in people's lives. But I'm happy to turn it over to Minister Fitch to follow up.
Well, I thought that was a pretty good answer. But some of the money was spent as it was needed over the past 2 years. But you know, sometimes we don't celebrate enough the relationship that occurs between the federal and provincial government, and sometimes we don't celebrate enough what we do to help people in need. And so over the last little bit, we've had a number of things from purchasing PPE, personal protective equipment. We've had a number of additional hires in order to make sure the screening was done as people entered the long-term care facilities. Plus, we've also offset some of the costs associated with, again, some of the additional capital investments that had to be put forward in order to, again, help with the circulation within some of the older homes and have the HVAC capacity that's needed to move the air around a little bit better than what it is. So there's going to be increasing cost as things go on too, and some of this funding will again be used for some of that additional cost as we go forward in dealing with this pandemic that continues to be persistently with us over the time. Thank you.
Prochaine question.
Hi. After you announced the budget, you were in Hamilton talking about the housing initiatives, and you said houses were for people to live in, not investments. Nearly a third of your cabinet, including your housing minister, as well as a few dozen of your MPs in your caucus, own one or more housing units as investments. What do you say to them?
I think there are a lot of people across the country who have rental properties as part of their retirement plans, as part of their lives. Lots of Canadians need to rent. What we're cracking down on is the fact that there are foreign investors and big corporations that buy homes in Canada and then just let them sit and bid up those prices so that they get more and more expensive. And use them as an asset class for revenue for people who have a lot of money. And what we end up seeing instead is hardworking families find themselves working hard, saving up, and it takes a few years to save up, but by the time they've saved up for a few years, regardless of everything they've saved up, housing has gotten further away from them than it was even a couple of years ago. That's what we need to turn around. But the reality is there is no one quick fix for it. I mean, we're seeing with inflation going up, you can't just give everyone a little extra money and have that apply to a house because prices for everything will go up. That's why our plan on housing has 3 different components to it. Well, lots more than that, but 3 that we're concentrating on right now. Increasing supply, helping people save, and cracking down on speculation. We're increasing supply by working with municipalities right across the country to invest billions of dollars to accelerate the process of building more housing. Whether it's challenges around zoning or permitting, we're going to incentivize municipalities to be able to tackle the housing crisis and increase the offer of homes, the supply of homes. We're also going to be working on savings with a savings account for first-time home buyers that's tax-free on the way in, tax-free on the way out, that'll save up to $40,000. So that people can help with that down payment, among other things that we're doing to help people afford that cost of the first home. And then, in terms of cracking down on housing as an asset class or an investment, we're going to be going after, preventing foreign buyers from investing in the Canadian market for the next 2 years. We're going to be cracking down on those predatory practices that some people are using, whether it's blind bidding, whether it's various challenges in the housing market that just make it unfair for people trying to get in. Far too many young people are reliant on family money and their parents or grandparents to try and help them get in, and far too many people aren't able to do that as well. There are inequalities in the housing system that we have to tackle, and it's not something that has any one quick fix. It has a lot of things that a lot of us are going to have to work together on, but that's what we're going to stay focused on, and this government has been focused on that over the past 5 or 6 years and will continue to be. Thank you for your question.
Bonjour. La semaine passée, la juge en chef de la Cour du Bas-de-la-Reine du Nouveau-Brunswick a rendu une décision qui rabroue le gouvernement fédéral parce que vous avez nommé une personne unilingue anglophone au poste de lieutenant-gouverneur. Qu'est-ce que votre gouvernement va faire en réaction à ce jugement-là qui est assez clair, mais qu'est-ce que vous allez faire maintenant?
Tout d'abord, on a toujours été un gouvernement là pour les minorités linguistiques officielles à travers le pays en situation minoritaire. La communauté acadienne ici est particulière et féroce dans sa capacité de défendre son identité et on l'appuie à 100%. On va toujours être là pour respecter la particularité de la situation au Nouveau-Brunswick en particulier. Donc, nous sommes en train d'étudier attentivement le jugement pour bien apprendre qu'est-ce que ça veut dire et comment on va avancer, mais la façon qu'on va avancer, surtout avec notre ministre des langues officielles ici dans la pièce avec nous, fière néo-brunswickoise, nous allons toujours être là pour appuyer les communautés linguistiques minoritaires à travers le pays. Obviously, we are the government and the party that has always taken seriously the responsibility of elevating Canada's two official languages and protecting official language minorities right across the country. The Acadian community is incredibly strong and important both to me personally and to our entire country, and that's why we will take a very, very careful look at this important judgment and make sure that we're aligning with it and moving forward in the right way. But I can reassure everyone that we will always be there to protect official language minorities across this country. It's something that is core not just to getting along as a country, it's core to who we are as Canadians. And that's something that you all know well here in this particular corner of the world in particular. But it's something that all Canadians take pride in, and we will be there to continue to uphold.
Prochaine question.
Bonjour. Présentement, il faut être doublement vacciné pour prendre l'avion ou le train au Canada. Avec l'été, les vacances qui arrivent, est-ce qu'il faudra cet été être triplement vacciné ou plutôt que les obligations de vaccination et de port de masque seront là?
C'est une excellente question et c'est quelque chose qu'on étudie attentivement maintenant, mais vous allez être content de savoir que c'est pas les politiciens qui vont se pencher sur ce qu'on devrait faire. Comme on a fait depuis le début, on va écouter attentivement les recommandations des médecins, les recommandations des experts en épidémiologie, les experts en pandémie pour savoir qu'est-ce qu'on doit faire pour continuer à être sécuritaire, tout en comprenant qu'on est en train d'entrer dans une nouvelle phase de cette pandémie. On a vécu des moments atroces en tant que pays avant d'avoir les vaccinations. Maintenant qu'on est parmi les pays les plus vaccinés au monde, on a pu voir que les Canadiens ont fait ce qu'il fallait faire pour se protéger eux-mêmes, oui, mais aussi pour protéger leurs voisins, leur communauté, surtout pour protéger nos travailleurs de première ligne en se faisant vacciner. Pour aller de l'avant, c'est sûr que les gens veulent revenir à la normale, revenir aux choses qu'ils aiment faire avant. On va revoir comment on trouve cet équilibre entre la protection des plus vulnérables de la communauté et le retour aux vacances et aux libertés qu'on apprécie énormément. Mais ce qu'on a vu à travers cette pandémie, c'est vraiment les gens voulaient être là les uns pour les autres. Les gens voulaient qu'on reste protégés. Les gens voulaient suivre les consignes pour se garder en sécurité. Et maintenant, on va trouver c'est quoi les bons consignes, c'est quoi la bonne façon d'avoir un été avec le moins de perturbations possible, mais aussi avec le moins de COVID possible.
Prochaine question, s'il vous plaît.
Mask mandates on planes have been lifted in the U.S. Is Canada considering the lifting mask mandates as well here?
We have been looking at and evaluating and reevaluating the science and the expert advice every step of the way. From the very first weekend of this pandemic, way back in March 2020, we have been focused on listening to experts for how to keep Canadians safe. And the important story of this pandemic has been just how much Canadians have stepped up for each other, how people have done the right things to be there, to lean on each other, to look out for their neighbors, to protect the most vulnerable, to support people through an unbelievably difficult time. So as we look at entering this new phase of the pandemic that features both a sixth wave of the second variant of Omicron, but also a loosening of restrictions in many, many places across the country, we have to get that balance right. People want to stay safe, but they also want to get back to the things they love. And the best way to do that is to lean in on what science is telling us, what the experts are telling us, and make sure that we're moving forward in the right way. But Canadians did the right thing by getting more vaccinated than just about any other country in the world. And people are continuing to get their booster shots, to get their next vaccinations, and that's how we're going to stay safest from this. What public measures we add on top of that, we will continue to evaluate so that we can get back to the things we want to do and keep at them. If we all go back to everything we want to do and fall back into another wave, well, nobody's going to be very happy with each other on that one. So getting that balance right and showing how we're able to continue to be patient as Canadians and do the right things, that's what matters.